Holy sh**. So WrestleMania 41 night 1 just ended. It's very late and I'm very tired, but I wanted to get this review out quick, so here we are. Before we break down each match, my initial thoughts: I liked it. I didn't love it. I'd probably give it like a solid B if we're doing letter grades. Initially, when WWE announced the match card for WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, I was way more interested in the matches on Night 2, and I feel a bit more validated in that excitement because the matches on Night 1, a lot of them lacked that WrestleMania feel and hype. A lot of them, I've been seeing some of the discourse online, have been kind of deemed just Raw matches or just kind of TV matches. I'm not sure I agree with all that, but Night 2 definitely feels like that's where all the heavy hitter matches are, whereas Night 1 was really anchored by an amazing main event. If you take that main event out, how does the rest of the PLE stand up? And I don't think it stands up that well, but again, it's pretty good. Alright, let's just get into the matches though. I'm Brandon, and this is Wrestling Talk. Apologies for the skeleton crew setup. I would have brought my colored background lights, but I forgot. So opening the show was Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. This match went exactly how we thought it was gonna go, which was fine. Ever since Jey won the Rumble and challenged Gunther at WrestleMania, we all knew exactly how the story was gonna play out. It was gonna be Jey as that true underdog, Gunther as that Ivan Drago big bad guy, and really apart from the Jimmy Uso beatdown segment, the feud never really took off. And then even this match, I thought, was fine. I think the Saturday night's main event match may have been better, which again, that is the biggest reason why, in my opinion, this match didn't have a lot of hype behind it, because we just saw it at another PLE main eventing it not too long ago. It was like a couple months ago. As far as the actual match though, it was fine. There were some good moments. Lots of chops. Not as many super kicks as we thought. I think Jey Uso maybe took note of that and decided to pull back on the super kicks. Having Gunther tap out, I actually didn't hate, just because I think it makes Gunther a bit more interesting moving forward. He's supposed to be the ring general, but he gave up. I think that's interesting. I thought this was a perfectly fine show opener. It kind of set the tone, got everyone on their feet. The Jey versus Gunther story was never about the in-ring match that they were going to put on. It was all about the moment. Jey beating Gunther, holding the World Heavyweight title high above his head to a sea of yeeting. That's what this whole thing was about, and it succeeded fine enough. It got us from point A to point B. We got Jey Uso as the World Heavyweight Champion. He's probably going to hold the title till at least SummerSlam. Gunther can go off and retire Goldberg probably. Once Night 2 is over, I'll rank all the matches and give them the star ratings. Right now, for this match, I'm leaning 3.25. It's just not something I'm going to go back and rewatch. The second match of the card was New Day versus the War Raiders for the tag team titles. Now this was basically a Raw match, but a really good one. Obviously New Day won because War Raiders are kind of cold, but for a match that I really didn't have any expectations for, I thought it was fine enough. Again, it's not something I'm really going to be going back to rewatch, but similar to Jey versus Gunther, it got the job done. This match, I'm leaning 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was very solid, very entertaining, not great. Next up, we had Jade Cargill versus Naomi. This is a feud that, in my opinion, really over-delivered given how simple the feud was. It's really just an attack angle, but Naomi has been doing such good work as this heel character, and Jade Cargill is such a star. Both performers did fantastic. Unlike the first two matches, I could absolutely see myself revisiting this one. I thought it was a blast. Obviously, Jade winning was the right call, but I don't think that's going to halt Naomi's push as a heel. I think both of them have world titles in their future. This one, I'm definitely leaning 3.75 out of 5. It was awesome. I gotta assume that Jade Cargill is like next up for the WWE Women's Championship. It just feels like she's the next contender. Next up, we had LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. This was awesome. Like, awesome. From an in-ring standpoint, it was by far the best match of the night, other than the main event. Jacob Fatu is an animal. LA Knight's entrance was sick. The only thing I was really thinking about with this match is this is the second time LA Knight has lost the US title, and both times he lost it clean. WWE doesn't seem interested in protecting LA Knight in any way, and I find that fascinating. Usually these days when people lose titles, it's either due to interference or cheating, or they made a mistake, they were being too emotional or whatever. But both times LA Knight lost the US title, he just lost. Shinsuke was a better wrestler and beat him, and Jacob Fatu was a better wrestler and beat him. It doesn't necessarily bode well for how WWE might view LA Knight as a superstar. If he was a Cody Rhodes or a CM Punk, I think they would be protecting him a little bit more, and they just haven't. That I find very interesting. Hopefully this loss means he can finally get into the world title scene. I don't know though. Assuming Cena beats Cody tomorrow, which I think he will, I feel like Cena versus LA Knight is definitely a match to do. LA Knight would obviously lose that though too, so I don't know. It makes me a bit nervous for LA Knight's push. But after this match, he definitely deserves one. It was awesome. 4.25 out of 5 is where I'm leaning. Next up was El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix. Rey Mysterio got hurt yesterday, so he couldn't compete. Rey Fenix stepped in. This match was, in my opinion, fine. I didn't think anything about it was necessarily spectacular, but I will say the El Grande Americano gimmick is starting to grow on me. Initially, I just didn't find it funny. That was the big thing. I just thought it wasn't very funny. I didn't really get it. It felt like very tailored towards younger audiences. But after watching this WrestleMania match, and specifically his entrance at the beginning, that really lit a light bulb for me where I went, oh, I think I get this now. I get the humor. It's starting to work for me. At the end of the day, it's just silly wrestling, but I thought it was fine. This match, I'd probably go 3.25 out of 5. Again, this match and the tag match both did not feel WrestleMania-y at all. But for what they were fine. Then we had Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. This was a match that I was so hyped for because of the in-ring potential, compared to Jay versus Gunther, where that is all about the moment that it's leading to. Charlotte versus Tiffany, I thought leading into it, was all about the match. This is gonna be a good match. And I gotta say, I was pretty let down by it. It was very slow paced, very methodical, a bit messy at times, and I am fine with a slow burn match if it pays off and has that crescendo and becomes very chaotic towards the end, and I don't think this match ever really crescendoed. Even the finish of the match I actually thought was a bit anticlimactic when Tiffany hit the prettiest moonsault ever and got the pin. It just kind of felt like, oh, she won. Oh, interesting. It did not feel like we were building to that point. Honestly, from an in-ring standpoint, this may have been the weakest match on the card, which is very disappointing for me to say because Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania 39, I've said this before, it's one of the best matches I've ever seen. So I just thought that Charlotte would be able to recapture that magic with Tiffany, and I just don't think they clicked. I don't think they had chemistry. There was just a lot of dead spots in the match. It just wasn't very entertaining. I didn't hate it though, but I'm leaning like a 2.75 out of 5. It just didn't work for me. On initial viewing, obviously I'm going to go back and rewatch all of these at some point because at the end of the year I'll probably do another every single match ever ranked, and that'll be a long one. I will say though, Tiffany winning shocked me. I really thought Charlotte was going to win this. I think a lot of fans online are going to be very happy that Tiffany won. I'm more just interested in what Charlotte going to do now. She came back, she's this big heel, she loses her big return match, like her big return singles match. Now what? To me, that's actually a bit more interesting than who's Tiffany gonna defend her title against next. Honestly, I would be interested in a rematch. Whether it's at Backlash or wherever, I just feel like that's probably in the cards. I don't feel like Charlotte and Tiffany is done yet. And honestly, I could potentially see Charlotte taking it off Tiffany at like Backlash. I don't know, maybe not. And now we get to the main event. This was incredible. Incredible. Honestly, I'm tempted to just say 5 out of 5 and stop recording. Everything about this match worked, from the entrances to the in-ring chemistry between all three guys, and most importantly, the drama. There were so many layers to this match where you had the Punk and Seth beef, and then you had the Seth Roman history that goes back years, and then you have the Punk Roman dynamic with Heyman, and then Heyman's dynamic to all three guys. There was just so much drama to chew on in this match. I think I have to eat my words a little bit. I initially didn't like the fact that this was main eventing just because it felt like, wait, what are they fighting over? It's just nothing. But when you realize that it essentially was a custody of Paul Heyman match, It is so good. And I don't want to say I called it, but I called it. Seth and Heyman have teamed up. I love it because it's different. It's way more exciting than Heyman just going back with Roman or going back with Punk. And it also makes sense. When you look at the way Roman and Punk have treated Heyman the past few years, it makes sense for why he would kind of go into business for himself and side with Seth. And I think Seth is going to benefit so much from this. I mean, Heyman, when he's attached to Roman or Punk or Brock Lesnar, those guys who are already at that main event level, all he does is elevate them even more. It always felt like Seth was always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but I think with Heyman by his side, I think he can finally maybe main event night 2 of WrestleMania or do a giant title reign that lasts forever, not as long as Roman. But I think there are so many possibilities for what this could mean. The first thing I thought when this match ended, honestly, was I think we're going to get Seth versus Cody main eventing WrestleMania 42. With Seth as a heel and Heyman by his side, you kind of realize, like, wow, we just created another giant Roman Reigns-like heel main eventer. He's gonna need a bunch of baby faces to main event with, and the first one that comes to mind for me is Cody Rhodes. It is just so awesome. This match really, I don't want to say saved night 1 because there were a lot of good moments. Again, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu, Jade Cargill versus Naomi, and then a lot of the other matches were fine. But this main event really did elevate it from a fine PLE to a really good PLE. It was amazing. And to see Punk finally get the main event, and then to see Roman really kick ass in the match, Roman Reigns came to play. I thought it was a blast. Just a blast. Honestly, I'm leaning 5 out of 5. That's it. That is my initial review recap of WrestleMania 41. Night 1. I'll be back again tomorrow when Cena inevitably wins. What did you think? Comment below and let me know your ranking of all 7 matches. What was the worst and what was the best? Obviously, it was the main event. Whatever you think, comment below and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.